Hello and welcome to a very special video. Today we're just going to talk about scale. Now I'm going to intersplice some images of various models and different scales from Warhammer over the years. One of my big problems with things when it comes to scale in Warhammer is that the argument has always been only one direction, one lane you might say, and that is to increase the size of things. And as you can see, as we go up, things keep getting larger, but for the most part, we've tried to keep the footprint somewhat the same. So, 2000's kit of Space Marines, for example, on 32 millimeters are about the same as a Primaris Intercessor and the new Horus Heresy guys. But the thing is that if you look at those units in particular, you'll notice they're getting ever more cramped on that base, like much like the older second edition Marines on the bases they were, like you saw previously. And the problem is at some point you have to increase the footprint of things, and as the size goes up, the footprint goes up. And we keep getting into a situation where storage and what you can put in things and how much you can comfortably store fights with the scale things. And I don't think it's anything but really a marketing gimmick. The technology's there to make units that are proportionally well done, fairly well detailed. It's just that, to be honest, Games Workshop finds it easier to resell you things by simply increasing the size and making the older thing feel dinky in comparison, as you can see here with the Horus Heresy and the old second edition Sergeant, and the Primaris, of course. The thing is that at a certain point we get to a situation where things start to feel ridiculous. Like the rhinos are, even with the newer ones, they're very small compared to the individual Marine we have. Now, of course, it's a war game, but my concern is that as we keep accepting things getting larger and larger and larger, that means the area in which we conduct our games will eventually have to get larger. The storage requirements have to get larger, and we will open ourselves up to ridiculous arguments like, well, now we have the Primaris Marines, and they're the super secret love child of a guy and his tree, and the Emperor something something interblanks. And we destroy lore and we destroy the setting for marketing gimmicks. And eventually, in time, the Primaris will need to be phased out for the next thing, which will be the Titan Marines, and they'll be in 32 or the Inquisitor game scale. Oh yeah, that'd be great. But the thing that really just bothers me is we never have the argument or the conversation of maybe some things in the lines should just be smaller. Are you telling me with the size of the current Imperial Guard and Tau and other units like that, that people would be upset if all Space Marines were just a scale of the newer Horus Heresy, as we look at some older units there? I don't think so, considering they look big, they look affordable, and they're not that much larger than our older kits. Plus, I mean, we're losing out on a lot of the more customizability. We're getting them in fewer and fewer parts that take anything but a great deal of time to cut up and alter without, going too crazy. Where we don't really have the old style kits where you could really just kind of kit bash even casually to your delight. We're moving oddly enough closer to what we did with second edition, where we have arms and bits that you kind of move around, but for the most part the unit goes together in one way. But I want to just make the point that as this trend continues, as people accept this being the way things are, that things will inevitably only ever go one direction, we close ourselves off from making and considering arguments that go, well, maybe it doesn't need to be that way. Maybe we don't need to actually just eternally increase the size of things. Maybe what we really need to do is focus on the quality, focus on giving the customer the best product as opposed to tinking with sizes. Maybe we should just really have the line focus on giving you a product that you want and enhancements to it. Of course, there's revamps to units, but it's no longer the fact that it's a revamp to a unit. Now it is, we are going to make the older unit passe, pointless, obsolete. We're going to destroy it within the lore to force this newer product on you because we have no confidence that you would buy a newer version of this kit or that it would attract enough sales. And it's really quite frustrating. And honestly, maybe it's time for us to consider that maybe some things do need to come down in scale, because do we really want our rhinos to be Land Raider scale? I don't really think so. So I'd like to thank everybody for letting me just blow this out of my system, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.